What is up, my friends? Welcome back to Bronco Adventures. We're in the shop again. I gave you a highlight. This video was coming. You have these on your Bronco. These crash bars that stick out like big triangles. They're right in your way. You put a bigger tire on your Bronco, you go full lock, it's gonna rub. You don't want that. Rubbing's not rock crawling. Maybe it is. I don't know. Rubbing's not racing. I do know that. So we're getting rid of this problem today. This video is brought to you from our friends over at Bronco Man 6. I mentioned that I just absconded with these in another video, and that still holds true. These are the JKS high clearance body mounts. Is what this does is it gets rid of this whole entire piece off of the frame. Cut it right off. Get rid of it. Throw it in the scrap pile. You don't need it anymore. You go to a bigger tire. Oh, something might be on the horizon. You're going to need the clearance to get the turning in there. That's what this bracket does. This is a really cool, pretty easy, I think, thing to put on there. I'll give you my honest opinion in a minute because I don't know if it's going to be easy. You're going to see it as I do it, and the trials and the troubles. I don't know what it's going to take, but it doesn't seem hard. Is what we've got is this literally, hooks in the frame. It just goes right on. You have one bolt on top, and it's already there. It's your intercooler bolt. You just take that off and then re-put it in here. It just holds it. Then underneath you have two bolt holes. Well, what's that? Well, you've got your skid plate mount. So disclaimer, to do this, you're going to have to take off your front bumper. You're going to have to take off your skid plates, and then you're going to have to take off your wheels just to give you a little more room. I don't think this can be that difficult. Now, this kit does replace this, but also in the back of the fender well liner thing, I don't know, there's like this plastic honeycomb thing. I don't know what it's there for. Ford put it there, not me. So this kit also includes these brackets that will allow you to take that honeycomb out, throw it away. You don't need it. Recycle it. Don't put it in a scrap pile. These bolt right in. A couple other little brackets provided in the kit. And now when you go full lock, that 37 isn't going to rub the backside of the wheel well nor the front. The north and south is clear. I'm excited for this. Plus, I'll be honest, it didn't cost me any money. So you guys sit back and enjoy figuring out how to cut this off. In, my idea, we'll just undo the body mount, of course. We'll do this part later. And I think we just get in here. It's only welded right up in the front. And we'll just get a, like Sawzall thing. Sawzall or Sawzall? Or is it Swazzle? I don't know. You tell me. We're just going to cut it off and see what happens. Now, I did briefly look at the instructions. The instructions do say to support your body. You don't want it to sag. It is gross. You just put a jack or something, apparatus under here, so that way when you cut this off, it doesn't, get out of whack. It really shouldn't get out of whack because this just goes over the frame. I don't see how it could get out of whack, but we're gonna figure that out, and I'm gonna teach you. I'm learning. Don't take advice from me. It's a bad idea. So this is the honeycomb in the back of the wheel well that I was explaining to you. There's just like bolts in here. It comes right out. And then the brackets go in there. And then as per this JKS kit, it also shows you can cut off this crash bar. Well, I'm not doing that. And you can't pressure me to. We have mud flaps when we're in winter mode. And if I lose this, what am I going to do with my mud flaps? I got to have my mud flaps. So I'm not doing this portion of it. I don't care if you can see this. I'll put like a little piece of don't worry about it. You know, if it rubs when we get bigger tires, well, then I'll address it then. But right now, I'm not showing you that part. Sorry, don't want to do it. I'm coming up here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to move our body mount bolt. I've already cut these one time. You can see, because it's rusted, I cut it. It used to stick out probably a solid another maybe 4 inches, 3.5. I'm bad at measuring with my eyes. You just have to trust me that we cut this. And I already gained a lot of tire clearance, but I want more, and this kit's gonna do it. How much clearance do we need?
What?
How much clearance do we need?
We don't need clearance, but it's gonna look way better.
I might have alluded that we might be doing bigger rubber tire things.
Yeah?
Wow.
News to me.
News. Breaking news in the Blanco Bronco
Tell me
shop.
anything.
It's hard to say.
Tires are
We're
gonna
just
show up.
pre-gaming.
Yep.
Hey, General, let us know. Let's cut this thing off here. Get that thing back where it came from. Now, disclaimer, don't do that. You're not supposed to use an impact to take out your body bolts. I think it's, you decide. It's just what we've heard. Because when you use an impact, is what's holding that bolt into your Bronco is a little square like nut thing. And it's in a little pocket. And an impact sometimes, if it doesn't come out, it's gonna forever spin. You don't want that. But I had success. Look at the sand hollow dirt in here. Sand hollow. Oh, missing on some sand hollow. Now, next thing we got to do is you've got 2 bolts in betweenst this mount right here. This is where your skid plate goes. So you got to take out the 2 bolts here and then the 1 bolt up top for your intercooler. Do one side at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. Once I get those 3 bolts out, I'm gonna cut this thing apart. Brand new vehicle taking a cutting stick to it. Doesn't that sound right? I'm gonna do it. Yep. Okay, well, I'm probably gonna need just eyeball 15 millimeter. All right, so I got the lower mount off, right here. Get it out of the way. Ours was bent. I don't think it should be like, see that? It's fine. So now, next really important step is what you got to do. You've got to support the body. You're going to want to take like a floor jack in like something and put up right in this section here, because this is your like radiator support. This is going to be your prime place to support the body. So that way when this mount comes out, the body can't do this. Okay. Well, I've got a sweet rock light right there. So I've made a decision that I'm going to just support the body like that. Now, I'm going to grab my favorite Sawzall, and I'm going with the carbide teeth, the ones that'll chew through this, and we're just going to cut this right off. I'm going to go from the frontwards to the backwards. You could also go, there is a gap in between here. You could come from the backwards to the frontwards. What I'm concerned about is if I get a huge Sawzall blade in there, what am I going to be putting it up into? There's radiators, there's my body support right there. There's important things in there. We might try it, but I just think that I can do this way. Now, after you cut this off, you're going to want to get a good flap wheel, and you're going to want to grind down that piece you were cutting right here. And then just get your favorite can of black spray paint and tune it up. And then we're putting on the new mount and we're good to go. So I guess, well, here goes nothing. Don't do what I'm doing. It's already too late. No turning back. Bronco Man 6, you wouldn't have wanted to do this to your Bronco anyway. Like,
There are wires.
there's wires. Well, there it is. There it was. That is so much nicer Come on, Ford. Why didn't we do? Oh man, I did what it said not to do, and I nicked the frame rail. Oh well. We're gonna tune this up with a flap disc, and we're just gonna grind that a little bit smoother. But look at how much nicer this is gonna look with that up in there. Now, you get rid of that whole bracket. Man, should have done this forever ago. I'm so glad Bronco Man 6 is my friend. Well, that should be enough. It's got 2 times the coverage. Now we're ready to mount this on there permanently. The factory body mount, you gotta reuse it. It's 2-piece. Make sure it just slides up in there and it goes on. Simple. Now when you put this on, this bracket for the intercooler lifts up, and then this just goes literally under it just like that. Now, when you lift up this intercooler plate, you're lifting it 1/4 inch. So now that intercooler could potentially wiggle jiggle. We don't need none of that, all right? So, in the kit is provided a little like spacer. I don't know the size. Looks like 1/4 inch or maybe even a little more. All you gotta do is lift up your bracket, reach in here, take off the rubber bushing for the intercooler. Careful, because that little nub sticking up is plastic. Don't break it. And then just take this and just drop it right over the thing like that. Now, reinstall your rubber bushing. And now, when this goes in place, just like this, boom. Now your intercooler is gonna stay tight. No wiggling and jiggling. That's what we want, it's ideal. This is awesome. Now, I'm gonna put my hardware in here, just snug for now. I'm gonna get it all lined up and then I'll tighten it down. And there it is. You can literally do this in your driveway. Now the only parts I didn't show you was removing the bumper, but that's fairly simple in and of itself. Remove the plastic little covers, undo the bolts, have a second set of hands. If you have sensors, unplug them. You know, the bumper removal is really not that bad. To do this is awesome. I absolutely love the way this looks. Plus, getting rid of this big bulkiness, and it's literally only attached right where we cut it. So that's why I say you could bring your Sawzall blade from the back and cut it off that way. I was just concerned if I wasn't paying attention, I could get into the radiator. So that's why I went from the front back. Now, the only thing to realize is there are things like coilovers that have reservoirs on them. They rely on this bracket being there to mount reservoirs and things like that too. Where I've already cut mine from what it used to be, I didn't have that option as it was anyway. I was at the point where I was just thinking about plating this off to cover it, make it look nice, but this is even such a better and simpler solution. I absolutely love it. Now, I stole this, but if you buy it, this kit is only like 180 bucks. So to get rid of this and have that eyesore out of there, not to mention how much you'll gain for not having your tire rub it, I think it's awesome, even if your, you know, buddy doesn't have one on the shelf and you just snagged it. Thanks, Ed. You're my best friend. You're my best Bronco friend. This looks awesome. And now that you've seen it, let me know when you're ready for a set. I'll send it right to you and we'll put it on the Badlands or whichever one you want. So now I just got to rinse and repeat and go to the other side and do the same thing. Undo the body mount, take off the lower skid plate mount, undo the one bolt for the intercooler and zip it right off and paint it up. So come on, I'll just show you real quick. It's easy. So now that you've got these installed, you're back together is what I'm saying. You've got to take and torque down your bolts. Torque it, you know. Your body mount per JKS are saying torque it down to 59. So I'm gonna go 60. And then the intercooler bolt was like 39. So I'm gonna do 40. 35, 40. 1029, I don't know. And then these lower ones, we're gonna go 60 on those as well. So just, you know, click it, don't risk it. You know, yeah. See, I wasn't tight enough and I thought I was tight enough. Now I'm tight enough. So torque this stuff down, but we're gonna get this back down on the floor and give it a full crank, and we're just gonna show you how close we aren't to these now. We weren't really close to the other ones yet, but with a 37, I can imagine we would be. So This is a huge upgrade, I believe. And there it is, wheel and tire back on. Look at how much more room for activities we have. Now, let me turn the steering wheel. Let's just really see where our tire's gonna be. Now we're on a 35, so we're not gonna have very, close clearance anyway. So you can clearly see the difference of how much room you have, especially if you've had your Bronco for some time and you've been staring at this. I mean, granted, I've already cut some off of this, but this mount would have sat right in there and back farther. So when this came out to its point, I mean, you're just cutting it really close as it is. These JKS mounts are awesome. Plus, other than removing the bumper, you just seen how easy it is to install. I think even with removing the bumper and doing this job, you can do it in your driveway. Probably what, 3 hours at most? You're taking your time, being real nice with your paint job. I'm thrilled with this. I absolutely love the way these look. I've seen them on other Broncos, but now having it on ours, I am excited. So now the question is, when do we get a 37, 38, 40? Where does it stop? I don't think it does. Portals? I like this idea. Anyway, get off your couch. You got to create adventures. That's what this stuff's about. We'll see you next time.
Bronco Adventures.